reviewer.
Yes, another reviewer. Now, I know I said I was going to be doing only top 10 lists until about mid-April or May, but as luck would have it, a game came out recently that was a remake of one that I played a lot as a teenager. Last August saw the release of Death Rally. Man, this right here is Death Rally as I remember it. This really takes me back. I was never big on racing games, but if Apogee had their name on it, it couldn't possibly go wrong. This game had it all. Fast cars, guns, explosions, and best of all, Duke Nukem. But that ended with a story of disappointment that I'll get into at another time. I loved this game when I first got it ages ago, and to find out that they released a remake made me incredibly happy. I would get to relive all the experiences I had with it. The thrill and excitement of the races, mixed in with the survival of the most cunning and bloodthirsty. I was a kid during the birth of the first-person shooter, so you're gonna have to excuse how violent I might have seemed. I can't wait any longer. It's time to play this game. Huh. When gameplay starts, you're introduced to the control scheme, while your first objective is to escape the police who ultimately destroy your car and detain you. You're then confronted by George Lucas? Wow, you've made some mistakes in the past, but this? Hopefully Disney does us a solid and releases a good Star Wars film. His name is actually Tex Harris, and I just got that. Anyway, he tells you that in order for you to avoid rotting in a prison cell, you have to enter the Death Rally and lure out the adversary so he can be detained. Then you are given a car, much shittier than the one you just had, and thrown into a race. I don't want this to turn into sequelitis since that's not my thing, but this is obviously a case of remake syndrome. Now, I've played the original version of this game countlessly, and even recently, and I still know how it works. The remake I played twice, and even rewatched all of my footage from playing the game, and I still have no idea how most of the game mechanics work. Let's look at the races. You start out with your machine gun that you have to hold X to fire, but as you unlock and equip more guns, your machine gun fires automatically when you're in range of a target, and you have to hold X to fire your unlocked weapon. You unlock cars, guns, and tracks by picking up pieces of them during the races. You get more by killing other racers. The average length of the races throughout this game are roughly 1 minute, which means you have to decide right away whether you're going to go for winning the race or just killing everyone. Races also have different modes that restrict how you race. Some races restrict you to one type of car, one type of special weapon, head-to-head against only one opponent, which is usually crazy hard since you're racing a boss character for only one lap, or deathmatch, which is you and Tex Harris attempting to kill 4 other racers and each other. It just evolves into you trying to get far enough away from the other cars to approach them without them all doing donuts to avoid you. It's a thing of true beauty. Did I say beauty? I meant brain damage. The story progresses initially by unlocking new tracks. They give you 5 laps instead of the customary 3 to accomplish your mission, be it kill the boss or just win the race. There are 3 unlockable tracks that you were given story missions to accomplish. After that, I think you get 1 mission when your rank increases. Needless to say, I'm usually unsuccessful with the story missions, but the game seems to progress anyway, whether you succeed or fail. At some seemingly random point during this, you're told that the adversary is watching your next race, but as luck would have it, after the race, Tex shows up and basically reiterates that he's been watching, and that you've tasted the destruction. Actually, no, there's no comment I can make to do this stupid dialogue justice. I'm just gonna let it play out for you. This guy really needs to spend less time participating in death races and bribing convicts and spending more time on his outfielder talk.
Get me the adversary, or you will regret the day that the dad you never had knocked up your mom in the barn dance.
Daddy? After going through the motions and racing for a while longer, if you've managed to stay interested in the game for this long, you're randomly challenged by the adversary. If you win, the game is over. You can keep racing and ranking up, but for all intents and purposes, the game is finally over. If you lose, you will continue racing and he will keep harassing you over and over to race him for no reason. Eventually, the game will stop pushing the race on you, so to finish it, you have to select the adversary in the story selection screen. When you do defeat the adversary, another scene plays out where Tex and his cronies show up, intending to arrest both you and the adversary, going back on your deal. You simply just ride off into the sunset with a rocket launcher aimed at you when they decide to let you go to become the next adversary. Now there's a lot to bitch about here, but let me take it a little bit at a time. I want to go into the upgrades first since they were a big sell for me. I love any game where I can go through a level, collect as much cash as possible by any means possible, get an upgrade or two, then do the same for the next level. The 96 version of this game even threw in black market items, jet fuel, sabotage, spiked bumpers, and mines you could add for the race. That made it even better. This version upgrades oddly. While progression is easier in that you don't have to win a single race to earn new items, you just need the money for upgrades. It just feels like the game is holding your hand throughout despite all the handicaps you get as the player. Your cars are never as fast as the competition's, they might have a lower level vehicle like the Vagabond, but it will always go faster and handle better than yours unless you get all the upgrades. Then all cars basically keep pace with each other. What's the point of having multiple fucking cars with different upgrade sets if they all perform exactly the fucking same? Death Rally 96 didn't do that and it was fucking awesome. You could have a slightly better car than your competition with all the upgrades, and you fucking smoke them because it gave you a feel that the cars were better and worth buying. This is just fucking dumb. Even the black market items are gone, and the speed boosts are always the same, never modified. You just unlock spike bumpers and mines, and sabotage is completely random. The special missions and bonuses are even changed drastically for this game. You still get requests to kill so-and-so for so much money, but now there's a lot of, try a fully upgraded version of this weapon or car for half your winnings, which is never worth it because in the upgrade screen, you're essentially stuck repairing that car, upgrading the weapon you had equipped, or not getting to use your money at all as it goes into your fame, because that's how it works. The gameplay mechanics are fucking awful, and as I mentioned before, they stack the odds as much as possible against you. Every car is essentially the same except for the boss character's car, and every race has a boss character. He's always a lot faster and takes a lot more damage. The concept of damage in this game is very abstract too. In the original, when an opponent's life bar was gone, they exploded, and that was that. But in this one, if you get their life bar down, their life bar gets all red and flashy, like your screen gets when you get to 5% or below with your health. But there are problems with this. This adds unnecessary difficulty to killing your enemies when the races are already too short. The boss characters, forget about it. You have to have some beastly upgraded weapons to take some of them out, as it can take a whole lap of hitting them with your pea shooter to take them down. I haven't even beaten some of the bosses in this game. I mean, it's either because their cars are just so heavily armored, or that they drive deliverators, which apparently the fastest car in the game only works for the boss characters. The only NPC this should happen for is the adversary, which, don't worry, it does. But it did that in the original too, with him and only him, so I don't count that as a strike against the new one. Armor is also worthless since everyone in the race has an infinitely firing machine gun. You have no motivation to win races when you have a lower leveled car, because you'll get destroyed immediately being in front of the NPCs. Your only hope early on in the game is wrecking your opponents, then somehow boosting up in front in the last second. Even when your armor is fully upgraded, you take insane amounts of damage for no real reason. It doesn't make sense to have upgrades that only really even you out with the competition. The idea that the upgrades don't give you an edge kind of take the whole idea of having upgrades in a game and making them useless. Graphically, this game doesn't look like it came out less than a year ago. Someone that knew nothing about either game saw me playing this and thought I was playing the old one. Saying the graphics look like they're 17 years old is a bit of a stretch, but when I play this game, the graphics remind me of Project Van Buren, the cancelled version of Fallout 3 developed by Black Isle Studios in 2003. The controls are pretty loose. It's something you expect when you start out this game if you're familiar with the original, but the difference is the controls never get as tight with this one as they did with the 96 version. All the upgrades applied to the cars should create a tight and balanced speed-to-control ratio. That's how they were set up before, where the fastest engine / best tires for a car are balanced to be as tight as possible. But here that's not the case at all. You still have to fight your car to navigate the tracks, and the worst part is backing up. If you're familiar with the controls of the first game, your first instinctual reaction whenever you ram into something is to press the directional key in the way that you want to go. I'm not entirely sure what the general convention for racing games are. That's just the way it was for the original game. And that's really the only racing game I've ever played, so that's what stuck with me. But now, this game actually does the exact opposite, turning you in the other direction. This is kind of hard to explain, but I found myself just doing complete donuts in reverse instead of trying to retrain myself to compensate for the lack of control in this game. It's hard to explain, and I'm not even sure if I'm getting my point across now, but it fucked with me an awful lot. The music and the sound effects for the game aren't bad. They fit fairly well, or at least don't distract you from what you're doing. The only music track that doesn't fit the tone of the game is the weird pop rock track that plays during the end credits. This game also has voice acting, but most of the characters don't get voiced. There's only 5 voice actors, and they each only play one character. George Lucas is played by Ray Chase, the resident Minecraft reference played by... Wait. Egoraptor? Why? Why would you do it? Okay, that was definitely a shock to the system. But you know what? I've saved the best part for last. The price. Now, I bought this game on Steam for $9.99, and, whenever I was first buying it and thinking it was a retelling, reimagining of my old memories of a great game, I found that I was wrong. And upon doing some research to find out who else fucking hated this game, I found out that this was actually just a cheap port of a 99-cent iOS game. That's right, go on iTunes, the App Store, 99 cents, and you can have this crapalicious game on your iPhone. I would suggest not doing that, for the simple reason that, it's actually free. The original version of Death Rally has been released for free. So you can find it on the internet and just download it, and it was actually made to be compatible with Windows and newer operating systems. That's how I got all of my footage of the older game, and that's how I played through it very recently, and I'd say that's the easiest way to do it. So forget this mistake and find yourself the 1996 version of Death Rally, done by Remedy Entertainment and Apogee, and go to town.